or however many, they clearly hate one another. That's not the way this works. So yes, that's my take on him. Now you have to make your own take on Rousseau. So go read him and decide for yourself whether I'm right. This is just my weird. I don't like Rousseau. I also don't like him because he put babies in a closet and left them there, thinking in 4 years we'll take them out and see what language they speak. It was an experiment, And guess what language they spoke when they came out of the closet? No language. And he was surprised because he thought, well, they should naturally speak French. Because French is the natural language. Every other language is kind of a corruption. I'm not kidding. There he is. I don't like him. He had kids by women. He never married them. Didn't want to raise the kid. Didn't want any financial encumbrance with the women and the children. So another reason I 51 years of marriage so far, and I'm convinced that as I've suggested, marry the smartest woman that will have you, given that you're male, right? Or today it's not a requirement, actually, right? But marry the smartest woman that you can find that will have you, and then do what she says, and you'll live longer, be wealthier, all the good things. So, and he doesn't do that, and so I don't know. I don't like Rousseau. Sorry about that take on Rousseau. But he is one of the social contract philosophers that's mentioned, and what I would mostly say is don't use his advice as assuming it's good advice, because I think he's writing it as just irony, a joke. And the fact that we teach it, and that education departments actually teach Rousseau's book on education as this is the best kind of education for the child. It's child-centered education. It's dumb. Sorry about that. That's my take. You could read it for yourself. I mentioned Queen Mary because she's along with William. Here's I don't want to get into that yet. Let's skip that one for a moment. But there's King William. He was William of Orange. It was a good book that I read. I think it was by Daniel Defoe. No, maybe it wasn't. But he was one of the main characters in the book. Now I can't think of the name of the book, but he is. It's kind of like a spy book. No, I can't think of it. Shoot, if I think of it, I'll let you know. He's kind of like a spy in the Netherlands that's trying to. Now I don't even remember what he's doing, but tulips are involved. So I'll think of it. But William of Orange is invited to come, and John Locke accompanies them. Let me get back to John Locke's beginnings, though. Where did I put them? Oh, I should mention this too first. This is test 3, or test 2 rather, and on my syllabus it says that I post this. I have that written that way because years ago, today would have been the day that I would have let you see what the test was, so I'm posting it, and then it's due the next class day, so this is due on Monday. Is that right? I think according to the syllabus, right? And remember, it's the same as test 1, 3 essays, so pick three questions. We did discuss St. Anselm's argument, so that's one that we've already covered. We did talk about Thomas Aquinas, how he merged Aristotelian concepts with church dogma. He took the Platonic view of the church and the Aristotelian view, and he merged the two of them together in a way that doubled the ontology of things, actually. Ontology is the study of things, how many things there are, and by giving us an argument that there's spiritual substance, and that, so spiritual things exist, as Plato thought, but also material things exist, as Aristotle thought. So he doubled the ontology, and we're still infected with that meme today, because we still think of things in both senses as common English understandings of things like love and tables and stuff. We've accepted that. Basically, it's become common sense. What kinds of things do you know for sure? And how do you know this? And hopefully support your argument of the work of a modern philosopher. Who are those? Well, Descartes. And of course, what I'm thinking of here is Descartes' what's the ground of knowledge? What do I know for sure? Well, I think, therefore I am. I can't deny that, right? I do mention Augustine in that regard, but he's not a modern philosopher. But you can pick whoever you like. Some people already have responded to this and picked different people. Thomas Hobbes gives us the argument that all of our knowledge comes from sense input, that, motions, Galileo, motions going into our senses, and once they get in there, they just keep bouncing around. And so we have motions in our head. That's where everything comes from. Today, in moving on to John Locke, and one of the main things that he left us with was what is referred to as British empiricism, and I can go back and show you that. So British empiricism officially starts with John Locke instead of Thomas Hobbes, and that's something that always puzzles me too, because obviously Thomas Hobbes is an empiricist and he's British. So how come he doesn't get to be a British empiricist? Well, the main reason that it starts with John Locke is John Locke initiates what's considered the problem of empiricism, and that is the recognition that, and not the book that I posted the link to, but one of his other books, he describes how we know things, and it starts off with Thomas Hobbes and all that information coming into our senses, and it becomes ideas. So he's following Hobbes pretty closely on all of that. But at that point, he also adds the dilemma that what I'm seeing and hearing and tasting and touching and smelling are not the thing in itself, but instead the way my senses interpret the thing in itself. So I'm not actually seeing, hearing, tasting, touching the thing in itself. I'm experiencing kind of a relationship between it and my senses. So I'm not seeing it. I'm instead experiencing how my senses react to it, right? But he does say that there are characteristics of the thing in itself that are, what that is, primary qualities. And these primary qualities, because it's material, it's substance, right? Aristotelian substance, it's material. And what can we tell of those for John Locke? The solidity of the thing. So when I think of it, when I'm playing football and I get tackled and I've got this hard football that smells like mud and pigskin and tastes maybe like that if you got tackled hard enough, in the mud. But the shape of the football is, for Locke, a quality that's a primary quality of the thing, not a secondary quality. The secondary qualities are the way it smells, the way it tastes, the way it feels, how pigskin feels, that little puckery aspect to it. All those are secondary qualities because they're the way my senses interpret the thing. But as far as Locke is concerned, the shape that you can't just make it go away. It's there, right? So that's the material aspect of it that he calls the primary qualities of it, right? What I'm mostly aware of are the secondary. And those secondary qualities are all in my mind. And so the British empiricist problem, starting with John Locke, is how do we know what the world out there is like when the world in here is clearly a result of my senses interacting with those things. I'm not actually, an orange doesn't taste a certain way in itself. It only tastes a certain way to me, or to those who are eating. It doesn't smell a certain way, right? And notice different people smell things differently. I always get in trouble with Donna because I always point out that she smells much better than I do. And that's true because women have more sensory receptors than males do. Yes? Psychology students? Yes? That's still current belief, right? I guess you can actually go in there and count them. And and we know dogs have way more, etc. And some dogs have way more than other dogs, etc. We know this. And it seems like women can taste things better. They smell things better. There's a whole bunch of, dependent. Of course, it's a spectrum, I'm sure, right? But if you think about it, the characteristic, if I take something out of the fridge and I don't know is it good or bad, I'll ask my wife. She'll go, phew! I didn't even notice that it was bad. But she decides for me that it's bad. Don't eat that. Okay. But other times she says, well, it's a little off to me, but it's up to you. And okay, then I'll eat it. It's fine. We could get into evolutionary theory and try to figure out why might that differentiation between the sexes be that way. You get some that argue, well, the men go out and kill things. They're out there walking as a group, and they kill things, and they can find their way back because they intuitively know the right direction to go, and that's why men still today know where they are. They never get lost. Sometimes maps are wrong. So hey, wait a minute, this map, the road's not going. I mean, think about the Seward Highway. It's supposed to go like north and south, and if you've got a compass on you with it while you're doing it, notice sometimes you're actually going south while you're going north. You ever notice? It's no. So you might know for sure you need to go there. Women, on the other hand, are always lost. But that's okay, because they were staying home, waiting for the guys to get back with all the dead animals that they killed. And the women are the ones that go, oh, this is still good. This is good. We can smoke this. This is, oh, you guys took too long getting this home. This is bad. And the guys didn't know that, of course, because they can't smell as well as the women. So, that's just fun. Is that sexist? Probably. Is it politically correct? Who cares, right? So, interesting. Our senses are our way of interpreting the world, right? And John Locke points out that the way things appear to us, the way we perceive things, are not necessarily the way things are in themselves. So as a result, we now have that problem that, by the way, we still haven't really resolved. It's an issue for us that won't go away. George Barclay, we'll continue with that. We'll see both Barclay and David Hume when we get the chance. Some biographical stuff on John Locke. As a young man, he met the Earl of Shaftesbury, and they became good friends. And in fact, John Locke was invited to become his secretary and assistant, and so he joined with him. And one of the interesting things in all of this is